Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to this Recharged Gaming League Week 6 matchup, and it should be an exciting one as we have the league leaders, undefeated Froyotech, coming in here against Generations, who drew first blood against them last time. Generations, of course, the first team to win a round against Froyotech this season. Froyotech also looking a little bit unstable, barely eking out a win against Cat Noises. And we'll see if they can finish this off perfect, as we're going to be out here on CP Steel. I am sigafoo with Nisel behind the scenes doing wonderful camera work as always. And VoxDei to my side. How are you doing, Vox?
I'm doing pretty well, man. You know, I love this map. I am a big fan of a lot of players on both of the teams. So, I mean, this is a dream come true for me.
Yeah, it is a very fun map to play. It's something it's one of my favorites inside of Highlander. The rotations, the chaos. You know, it'll be interesting to see how Froyotech played. It's not a traditional map. I don't know how many of these players are familiar with it, if they understand how the different even platforms work with the different stuff sliding out and the spawns changing and whatnot. Because it's not a map you can rely as much on your DM, but with the long respawn times and the limited number of players, we might see this go a little bit faster than we see it inside of Highlander. But before we get into that, let's make sure we have time to go over picks and bans prior to this starting out. And if you got it up, VoxDei, can you talk over what Froyotech banned today?
Yeah, I got it right here. So Froyotech went ahead and banned the Wrangler, which is really smart ban, but they also banned the short circuit. So they're clearly a little afraid of some engineer plays coming out of Generation. So they really want to nip it in the bud, get rid of that Wrangler and short circuit. The bans after that primarily focus on sniper, and not to get too much into rosters just yet, but Generations with Fallen Lord do have a pretty strong sniper on their side, so getting rid of the Machina and the Girardi, maybe take away some of the elements of the fear that you can have when a sniper has that Machina, the extra 15% damage and everything. And the last band that they've got is the Dead Ringer, and They've probably done their homework just a little bit. Shot away, might be playing Spy for Generations. Really strong on the class. Could cause a lot of problems for the Froyotech team, and they decide to ban that out as well.
Yeah, it's, you know, we've yet to see a Dead Ringer in any competitive high game. It has been banned every single time. It's actually funny because when I was looking at the default bans this season, so the Razorback and Darwin's Danger Shield are always banned in every single game throughout the league. And the reason is just due to the high rate of bans that happened during the Challenge Cup and how powerful snipers are. And one of the bans I was thinking about doing was the Dead Ringer. I felt like it was just a little bit of an overpowered weapon and that it needed to be reined in a little bit. And to see the Dead Ringer banned literally every single game, it really shows itself. Short circuit again, Froyotech, as you said, going heavily against the engineer, but we can switch down to the Generation side, and they started off a little bit different, where they opened up with a ban on the Kritzkrieg, which I am not really sure what they were going for, if they thought, you know, Froyotech would be running a Kritzkrieg here. It's not something we've seen a lot of, especially when it comes to stopwatch maps like CP Steel, but maybe they were just kind of planning against something else, with Mad Milk and Criticola taking away the effect for Banny, and they're also saved the Degreaser in the reserve shooter. So definitely expect to see some pyro shenanigans on their side today, as Banny did not take away the reserve shooter early on. And then with the Iron Bomber and the Soda Popper, again, a couple questionable bans. Iron Bomber is the most commonly used Demo Man primary, but the Soda Popper, I mean, that barely gets any use whatsoever. I think they probably could have done a little bit better with that slot. Maybe take away gunboats, try to take down Blaze a little bit. I actually couldn't do that because that actually was saved by Banny up top. The other one I will say I kind of question is the ban of the Wrangler. I know you're kind of saying that like, it can be good, but this map, you don't see a lot of engineer, and the Wrangler isn't as powerful given the sightlines with it.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the Wrangler itself, and I don't know if this may be just Froyo's thought process. They just want to go fast, go fast, go fast. They don't even want to have to worry about it. But I feel like almost a reserve shooter, not reserve shooter, rescue ranger ban could have almost had the same effect. Like you said, the Wrangler maybe with the sightlines not going to be too much, but I can kind of think of different ways that the Rescue Ranger. I was gonna say Reserve Shoot again. Rescue Ranger can be used to really cause some problems on this map, pulling out the gun, or especially on the E site whenever you're defending, or even some special strats if you want to take your engineer into E as the offensive team right away. But the one thing I can say about the Wrangler is, if Froyotech do anticipate any A to E strats, it can really hamper that if Generations were thinking about trying something like that.
No, that's true. And as we can talk about how these weapons affect the game, we also can talk about the players who are going to affect the game. And over on the Froyotech side, it's going to be the same roster we've been seeing for most of the season. We're going to have Banny, Eric, Habib, Blaze, Corsa, Shade, and Yomps. Traditionally, Banny has been playing on the Scout class, though he did play a little bit of a flex in the last game. We saw him. Eric kind of playing flex and Engineer, but with so many Engineer bans, I'd kind of be surprised if we see him on that class, but maybe we'll still continue to see him on it. Yomps has been a little bit of a wild card. He started out on Scout in the last game, but he struggled on it and switched back with Banny and kind of went over to like the heavy / flex role. So I'd be curious to see what they do with that, but let's talk about Generations. Who are the players over on the Generations side?
Yeah, on Generations, we're going to have Fallen Lord, aka Young Self-Esteem, likely going to be on the Sniper class for this one. Shot Away, the Sniper's Bane, you can imagine he'll probably be playing Spy. Freelander, the Ringer, I feel like this man can play any class at a high level, so you know, he's always kind of up in the air, but probably going to be on Soldier for this one. There is Duck, I'm Holding W, Rider 32, also known as Syath. And he is a monster on the Scout class. There's Big Pipes, Exile, going to be playing Demo. Turkey, no, I'm not going to say that, Freelander. Lips on Medic. And then there's just Akima on Pyro.
And some great players on each side. And the one thing that's going to be interesting is Generations is almost exclusively a Highlander team, every single one of them. Not a lot of them play sixes, whereas it's kind of the inverse on Froyotech, where very few of them actually play Highlander in any serious way, or at least in any recent memory. Though, of course, all of them very intelligent players. One thing I'll be kind of curious to see is if we continue to see the Sniper class on being played today, because the Sniper is not nearly as effective when it comes to CP steal. It has very low angles. It's very short sightlines for a lot of the points. Sniper can still be effective. There are still sightlines where he does work, but compared to Highlander, where you must run them, I'm going to be curious to see if we get him switched off. Maybe the Sniper goes to heavy or runs a pyro with the reserve shooter, since that was saved. It'll be curious to see how we kind of get this mixed up. I mean, I definitely think that Generations is going to run a full-time pyro no matter what. I imagine Froyotech is also going to mirror them, maybe not at the start of the match, but definitely midway, as soon as they see Generations having any success with it. But I mean, are you kind of Snipers, you've played a decent amount of Sniper, obviously, Vox. What do you feel about Sniper when it comes to this map?
Yeah, this is a map that there's always potential for a Sniper to go off at any point in competitive TF2, but I think that's a good point. I don't think we're going to see Sniper as much. I think a team that is too focused on having a Sniper at all times just because, it's such a powerful class, could fall into a trap, and their Sniper won't be as powerful, especially because I think Shot Away would probably play a lot of Spy if Froyo do want to run a Sniper. But with the Machina ban as well, Machina is actually a weapon that is extremely powerful on this map. I remember playing a match with it on this map, and it was absolutely insane. But going back to the regular sniper rifle, yeah, you had potential, but it definitely wasn't as powerful. It seems to bring it to another level when you're playing this map. So, I mean, if the Machina was in, I would say probably a little bit more sniper, but since it's a ban, not gonna... I would hope that a team doesn't kind of get into the pitfall of, locking themselves into perma-sniping.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this game mode is all about. As we are getting the countdown, teams are going to be readied up. It's going to be Froyotech starting out on offense on blue, Generations starting out on red, and there's actually a little bit on the line here tonight. Froyotech, they cannot lose the 1 seed. They're kind of just playing for pride here, playing for that undefeated season. Generations, though, they have a chance to push themselves up into second place. And if they do so, the way the playoff structure is going to work this year is seeding is very, very important. So if you finish in the first place, you get a guaranteed spot into the grand finals. If you get second place, you get a guaranteed spot. You're going to finish at a minimum of the third place. You get into the consolation game or the game prior to that. And the third and fourth place teams are going to be the ones who duke it out first. So Froyotech has guaranteed themselves a minimum, I believe $800 is a second place prize, and they're going to be fighting it over for the top one. But the question is, can they have a perfect season? And will Generations surprise them here tonight? Now, Generations also took a round off of Froyotech on upward. As the gates come down here, you can see no resistance happening on the A point. A point generally given up. It's so difficult to hold that teams don't do it. And Froyotech come out here, they're going to easily capture this as Shadowway on the Cloak and Dagger spy, just kind of watching out to see if Shade peeks himself. But of course, Shade should not be committing right now, and easy point to be take down for Froyotech.
Yeah, right now I'm taking a look. It looks like Fallen Lord is going to be on Sniper. They're foregoing a Scout on the defensive side, which I think works pretty well for this point, as Froyo do cap up on that first point. No Heavy for the defensive side, but there is going to be one for Froyotech, so we'll see if they're going to have a really strong combo with Scout, Soldier, and Demo Heavy, all kind of playing this one unit, but shot away! Oh my god, already off the bat gets a backstab onto Shade.
The very first kill of the game is going to be putting a +2 into chat. Beautiful job there as he opens it up. And you think with 7 players alive, they would be looking around, watching for it. And a great job by Shadowway, not only to get the stab, but he called to his team to go over and rotate. Now, the thing is, Exile's playing out of the spawn. That's not where you want to be defending this E point from. You want to defend it from the B side. That's the best way to do it, is Zukima picks up a frag using the reserve shooter over here. Exile now rotating over. This is a very easy to point to defend if you can get control of this. Habib's currently alone. They need to push into him, but they don't have the speed of a Scout to do that right now, as they're not running one on defense.
Oh, Shadowway! Shadowway got a backstab on the Shade yet again.
But the point is, not a bad pick. Yeah. And look at Eric's actually running a level 3 onto this point, but with the level 3 set up by Wax and the positioning out of the red side, they should be able to defend this still, and they're holding on to 100% as well.
Yeah, Froyo have gone for the classic AE strat. Shadowway keeping Shade down is important. As he falls into the pit, I think. Has he died yet?
No, he's holding on to the edge of the pit as Banny gets taken out by the gun. Shade was on fire. He's going to try to get out, but he's just going to find his death, as he's going to just have to surf into the pit. And Shade has not been alive long enough to do anything this game, as he dies 3 times in the first minute.
I wonder, I mean, this is really taking away Furio's win condition as Shadowway gets a backstab onto Corsa. But, like, if you have an Uber here and Yams walks forward, takes out Exile and before falling into the pit, if you have an Uber here, you can pretty much secure the game. Shadowway gets a sap onto the gun, headshot onto Eric, but not able to take it out. And the one thing about this E-hold with the Engineer is there's no way for Shadowway to go to spawn to take out a teleporter. So he's got to find a way to get to the exit, or Generations need to find a way to take out the gun and clear it out.
And Zukima doing absolute work. He has three pit kills already, using that Pyroclast to his advantage, using that B side. I mean, this is why the E point's so hard to capture. If you try to push into it, the B corridor, doing this hold from the B side, it's almost impossible to take care of. As Shadowway picking up a snipe there on the Ambassador, taking down Banny. Nice job. As Froyotech's still trying to figure out how do they want to push this right now. And honestly, what they need to do is they just need to get some point presence onto B. If they just send like 2 players, 1 player over to B, at least split the focus out of the enemy team. But Corsa does at least pick up 1 snipe onto Fallen Guard. And so that is going to allow them to get a little bit more sightline onto this point. Maybe get something out of this as Habib's trying to work his way in.
Yeah, this is really starting to be like the very strangest match I've seen on Steel. Froyotech are just kind of afraid to get onto the point. I mean, obviously there's a really good hold by Generations right now. They're doing a good job at keeping them at bay, but it looks like Shade has Uber and they've bundled up their team over by the stairs, but they got to be careful. Zukima is around, ready to air blast. The Uber comes into the wishbone. Zukima goes down. Habib takes out the gun, Wax, and Zukima before now Generations use that Uber, but they don't have any classes that can chase, and I don't know if something forced Turkey Lips there, but not enough people to really warrant that Uber being used with Froyotech so far backed out.
The good thing is they did take down the gun. Only 4 players alive on the defense. They're trying to aggress out. They pick up one frag. Blaze is pushing in here, getting a lot of damage onto the enemy team. Finally does get taken out there as Exile doing a decent amount of damage onto the heavy. Banny putting ×2 onto the point. Level 3 Sentry Gun did get moved around into a different spot. Actually, Eric moved it into an even more aggressive spot as Banny gets forced off of the point. Habib's now going to the B point, getting some capture time on. They're actually going into a 1v1 against Wax. The Engineer's going to come out on top as Eric's gun's going to get taken out here. He goes down incredibly low as well. Some spam coming down onto the heavy, and they're trying to aggressive. Banny has the point halfway up, but will they be able to sustain this?
I really like how Froyo is doing this as Yams falls into the pit. Good job by, I think, Sakima probably air blasting him back. There's a sentry back up for Eric, and he's going to try his best to get it. Banny was focusing the point. They've got the combo pushing Wishbone, actually used behind, and it looks like Shade is going to drop one of his members, and everyone goes into the pit!
Are you... How many times do you have to fall into the pit until you learn? Do these men know how to ride a bicycle? Do they touch hot things? Like, what do they need to do to learn to not walk in front of there when Tsukima is alive? 3 Uber players fall into the pit once again. What is happening with Froyotech?
Oh, wow. And I was just commending them on this hold, and it gets completely destroyed. Corsa was doing a good job choking him off at spawn. He is finally going to go down. I think Fallen Lord was the one to pick up that. Habib is going to take out 2. That's Wax and Zakima, so very important engineer pick by him there. I think Froy is going to come down with this B point, and you got to make sure if you're Generations, you don't overextend to try to block this. Fallen Lord going down incredibly low. He's going to get healed up. But at least Froyotech have taken B, but just under 6 minutes to get that point and no more E presence.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they needed to do initially. Going for that E push is not the wrong idea. What they did was not the wrong idea, but they needed to get a little bit of time on B, split the focus of the enemy team. They should be able to come down with the B point or the E point. One of the two is going to work out in their favor, and finally they do just that. Both teams coming up to 100% here. Everybody's trying to, it looks like they're trying to aggress into this shutter side. They're actually doing dual presence. One going up to the cliff. Banny's doing good presence. Pushing into Exile. Takes him down. Turkey Lips is now caught out a little bit here. Gonna have to back up as Froyotech's getting themselves into position. And this is going to be a C point for Froyotech if they push it correctly.
Good job as Zakima gets a reflect kill onto Blaze there. And yeah, a lot of pressure onto the C point. Jumping into the Uber was Habib after he jumps in, get some extra damage in there as his medic flashes around. Turkey Lips is going to go down, and this is just disastrous for Generations. Exile and Wax, the only remaining players. I think Exile's a respawn as well, or they might actually both be. But Froyotech's going to come down with C, so after the struggles early, they come down with B very quickly onto C, and now it's an important decision for Generations. Do they want to choke them off and lose D, or lose D? Do they want to go into lobby maybe and see what they can do? This is going to be very, very important decision by Generations.
And the thing I always talk about and I harp about all the time is spawn time, spawn time, spawn times. I just want to point it out right now. I'm trying to talk about it too much, but 25-second respawn wave currently for the defense. And Turkey Lips is going for the saw against the soda popped Banny. Gets taken out, trying to cut out. Should have just ran back into spawn. 4 players currently down, and they are not gonna. They're gonna lose this D point as well. And the transitions that Generations need to have, they need to keep themselves alive. Wax at least picks up 1 frag onto Eric on the far side, but this is not looking good. The respawns are going to come back up right now. 3 more alive, but they're still down 2 to Froyotech. And Exile's down for another 4. They are going to need a miracle play right now to try to defend this point. Else Froyotech's going to take it down with about 8 minutes.
This needs to come down to 1 man, and that's Akima. He needs a 6-person pit play as Shade Ubers and falls into the pit. I don't even know what pushed him off.
I think his just will to live. I don't know. Did he just jump off? Was he not paying attention to his footing? I'm not exactly sure, but that was enough to scare Froyotech off of the point. Finally, the Heavy's going to come back on here. Zukima has been spotted, so they're currently trying to spam him off. Wax is coming up onto the other side, but they should be able to come down with this unless they get an absolute miracle. Only 47% on the Uber charge for the defense, so that won't be enough in time. They get taken out right there. Turkey Lips is going to go down. Here comes Exile. He's going to spam out the point. Going to get a lot of damage with Froyotech at the same time. They do pick up 3 frags. Make that 4 as they're going to go down. Exile cleaning up the point as with just a hair onto it. Blaze is the only one left alive right now, and somehow Generations is just barely holding on.
That is such good timing for Generations. Really got lucky there. I mean, Zakima was in stuck between a rock and a hard place. He knew if he pushed, there were going to be sticks there, but he knew if he didn't, He was going to die. He did die, but those respawns came in just in time, clearing the point. But now they got to hope for the same thing as pressure comes back down onto the point. Habib and Banny putting a lot of pressure. Yams and Shade join. Zukima did go down, and good job by Freelander. Picks up a couple. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Actually, Habib and Yams go down. Shade's going to try to do it himself, and he might be able to just in time.
Yeah, they might have been able to milk another 30 seconds out of that if Shade didn't have the smarts to jump onto that point. Nice job by Shade there. He might have died 4 times into the pit, but goddamn, at least he knows how to get on the point at the right time as he's going to secure his team. But 9 minutes and 26 seconds, and honestly, I don't really know times currently in Prolander. This is the first time we're seeing this played competitively with only 7 players, but I gotta imagine that is not a fast time at all. I gotta imagine the average time is probably closer to 6 to 7 minutes. So we'll see what they can do as Generation's now going to be starting out on the offense. Currently not running, actually no, Zukima has switched to Scout off of Pyro, but I don't know, that Pyro class is pretty powerful, and we can see Froyotech is not running Pyro at all currently, which I'm a little bit surprised given the success that Zukima had.
The interesting thing right now is a number of Froyotech players are all on A, and I mean, there's still a few seconds for them to rotate out, but it looks like they want to just go for a pure A-hold. Their NG is there with a sentry gun. I mean, this could catch Generations off guard for the first time, but I don't think it's going to happen twice, so I'm interested to see what happens after this first wave. I think the calls are already being made that there's a number of people on the A point, and could even go for a flank right to E through B. We'll see how Generations want to do this.
Well, that just is, if you put a scout onto the E point, there's no easy way for the defense to get over. They have to go through spawn. It's a little bit of a walk, and that honestly, if I was Zukima, that's what I would do. I would just run straight to the E point, get ×2 capture onto that. As only Blaze is currently defending the B side, which is the only thing between Zukima getting on that. He's doing just that. He's going to be running out onto the Blaze, onto the B point as XL working up here. This is very untraditional, as I said. Trying to hold on to this point is Zukima is now onto that E point, and he is starting to get some pressure on there. We'll see how Froyotech responds.
Yeah, it looks like the first person to go over is Corsa. He's going to go up into the window, get a body shot onto Zukima, so clears it out. It does afford a little bit of space for Freelander and Exile to start spamming the gun, and they do take it out. So Turkey Lips safe in spawn. They should know that Corsa isn't around just yet. Actually, as he starts to peek, but they could take their medic out now. There's no gun, and commit to take this A point. Banny goes down. Nice shot by Fallen Lord, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. Uber getting used. Yamps might go down. Good job by Shade to get there in time. Much better Uber though out of Froyo.
Yeah, and they're pushing him all the way back to spawn. Picks up Exile, and they're going to continue to hold on to this. Honestly, I think what Generations should have done is just jump down, traded Ubers much earlier on, kind of treat us closer to maybe upward first, where you kind of just go for those Uber trades early, don't really mess around with it too much. I still think getting the pressure on the E point is not the worst idea, but now with Banny and Blaze playing on the B point, that's only 4 players here, and they should easily be able to aggress out here. And they're trying to do just that. Habib gets popped up. Zukima on the backside putting out a lot of damage. Habib going down incredibly low. Shot away, misses his stab. Ultimately goes down. ×2 gun is still alive currently and being healed up with that rescue ranger that was not taken out with the band. And they're still struggling to work this side up the hill. They're all trying to push from the low ground. And I think they need to put more players on the high ground, on that upper left-hand side to be able to do this. Habib and Yams taking a lot of damage also going down onto the point.
I think they need Fallen Lord to step up big right now. There goes Exile taking out the gun. Blaze goes down as well. Uber comes in by Froyotech, just getting in time as Turkey Lips, but her entire team goes down around her. So just got to back out into spawn, and they still have not been able to break this hold. Like I said, I think I'm looking to Fallen Lord to get a buff and get a key pick right now. Onto Corsa maybe. Shadowway goes in, doesn't get much, gets spotted out. But this is gotta feel a little heartbreaking right now for Generations after that great defense.
Yeah, I think they really need to jump onto that. I think they need to drop the engineer, switch off to heavy, get that extra firepower as Turkey Lips gets taken out from Banny. They're getting so spread out here again, trying to push from that low ground, and Froyotech is just winning the DM battle, and it's working out in space right now. Again, Engineer has done nothing so far this game. He's currently sitting with 9 points, which isn't the worst thing for defense, but you need that extra damage. You need to do something. Maybe jump to Pyro, get that reserve shooter, try to catch someone out, especially. Wax is now the Engineer class onto the E point, but with only ×1, he's not going to put enough pressure to really scare them out. And also, Shade is onto 100%. So should be able to do this. Actually, Shade getting popped up. and a stab going out onto the heavy. Habib going down incredibly low. Finally, Generations should get this A point, but after so long, it's got to be a little bit disheartening. Actually, Froyotech still getting their defense up.
I wonder if Generations could have just gone for a pure E push, which would be the strangest thing I've ever seen. But I mean, why not go for it? Finally getting ×2 onto the point. I think this is really the first time they've actually put pressure onto the cap. But I think actually Froyo's still committing. If I were Froyo, I would be rotating, start building on B. And try to catch him off guard, but no, they trust their DM, and it's working out for them. They might be able to clean this up. Banny, actually the last player remaining. Habib now spawns, get in, takes out 3 as Shade is back to heal him. It's just Fallen Lord versus a medic and a demo. I don't think he's going to win this one.
And the respawns for the defense aren't too bad. They're coming up pretty quickly. XL's coming in here, going to go for a 1v1. Gets Shade with a pipe, trying to finish it off as Habib, I believe, took a headshot as well, but Shade still alive. And XL now down again. Now going to be miscoordinated with his team as Froyotech still coming out here trying to defend this point. Only a minute and 20 seconds left on the clock here. And I mean, really, honestly, I think your idea of going for an E push wouldn't be the worst idea. And the reason is that, oh, in the stab, the drop coming out, Shay gets taken down onto a 20-second respawn, no heal gears. And this is it for Generations. They just need to win this DM fight. They need to play around their heals, but it's going to be the Engineer Eric chasing down Turkey Lips. Banny with the Soda Popper is going to go behind the lines as Blaze getting into the upper hand side. Here comes Blaze in, huge bomb in with the Demo Man as well. They're putting out damage. No one's focusing them down. They're still alive as Habib picks up 2 more frags onto a 7k. Freelander's popping up the sniper into the air. He's going to die to fall damage as Habib finally gets taken out. Shade alone in Generations after an exhausting battle will finally come down with it. But 4 minutes for the final 4 points. It is plenty of time, but they're definitely going to have their backs against the wall given how tough that first point was.
Yeah, I think drop down to B might be the best option. There's only a mini sentry, but this doesn't look very promising. This looks pretty scary. Zakima is going to go down. Wax did switch over to heavy, so maybe, I mean, that could have been the difference there. If they had just done that 3 minutes ago, they may have gotten the point sooner. Froyo is already set up. A few people going down on Generations. They are at pretty much even Ubers, so it would, if Generations had an Uber ad, I think this would be a cake. Eric does go down as Corsa gets a shot onto Zakima, but Generations with only 317, if they, assuming they cap this point, are gonna have a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine right now, it's just, oh god, I love the coordination out of Froyotech right there. Banny went in with the Soda Popper, was just distracting them, dodging bullets, and then you had a dual bomb in from a Habib and Yams, but here's the, and Blaze. Blaze did come out alive. But you did lose 2 players there, and again, they're going to be put on long respawns. The offense is getting back alive right now. Banny and Habib are still down for another 5 seconds, and so even though the bomb was moderately successful, since they didn't get down Turkey Lips, they're going to be able to take over this point for free. And that's purely because of the bomb that Froyotech went in. That's why you need to be attention for the charges. So here we go. It's going to be an Uber trade out. We're going to see how much flashing can be done for the blue side as no frags coming out. It's actually 3 players down for the defense as it's going to be a better Uber as well. Shade is now getting cut out. Zakima, beautiful shots, takes him down. Banny's going to get taken out as well. And now it's just Habib left alive. 2 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock here. And this is doable, but it is going to be tough here. It's about a 30 to 40 second time it takes just to capture the E point. As Zukima's going to put a little bit of capture time onto it. Shadowway gets caught out here trying to go for an early stab as the respawns get reset for Froyotech.
Yeah, this is, they've got, potentially they could catch out Habib and Blaze in lobby, but I think they need to just commit everything for E right now. I mean, C is already getting held up by Froyo. You've got under 2 minutes, and I think that they kind of have that inkling. Maybe it looks like Exile jumping over, maybe try to stick out the spawn at D, get a couple people onto the point on E, and just see what you can do. But they're actually going to commit their heavy and medic into the D site, and I'm really interested to see what Generation's plan is here.
Well, the way that you usually play this is that you put your Demo Man outside of the spawn of D because you lock down any respawns from coming in. That's usually the most important thing, times 3 point, but the way they're playing this right now is so passive, they're not going to be able to contest anything. I think this is a big misplay coming out of Generations. They also have Uber advantage out of Shade. They have about 20%. Actually, it's dwindling very quickly. Times 2 onto the point. They're getting a lot of cap time here. The Scout does go down, though. And they also had about a 20-second Uber advantage that they just wasted out of Generations. So I don't know, just a little bit questionable. They're so passive here. I can't imagine anything's going to work on their favor. A lot of aggression coming out here. It's going to probably just use Uber to save Wax with this aggression coming up. Actually, Turkey drops him just before that Uber comes out. Freelander getting ×1 onto the point, gets popped in the air. He's going to go down. Exile getting reconnected back up with the Medicus Blaze going in to chase him down. And Turkey Lips now alone. Going to easily be cleaned up there. And yeah, just not looking good as Generations. I don't think they can do this.
Yeah, 30 seconds, I think it mathematically might be possible still for Steel, but you would need ×3 happening right now, and it is dwindling, so I'm going to be the one to call it, and I think Froyotech have taken this round, first round 1-0. I mean, I'm starting to go back and already take a look at what Generations could do differently. I mean, obviously, I think we both noted that the engineer in the beginning was just there for too long. I think they had plenty of time to think about that before they actually finally did switch Wax off to heavy. But one thing I do want to point out is, you know, thinking about Generations, they're Highlander players, you think, oh yeah, we're coming in on Steel, we've got strats on strats on strats on this, but how many Highlander teams do you think have worked out a strategy for pushing A? You know, I wonder if they just had no idea, like they never thought about it, never crossed their mind, like, wait, what do we do if they build on A? And cost them there.
And honestly, I think what they should have done is, because you know, it's a very true statement. What you're saying is, I'm trying to think of like all the times I've played Steel and how many times I've actually had to try to attack a full A hold, and it's so incredibly rare. But I think in Highlander, it's harder to pull it off, given that you have those 2 extra players that you can commit to the other team, and so yeah, I mean that's basically it. Is that yeah, I don't know how it comes out, but the other thing too is Banny's been using that soda popper really well, and I gotta say, Generations' first ban on crit screen, very questionable call to ban crit screen, given how much soda popper has been used effectively by Banny.
The soda popper or Force of Nature, because I thought soda popper was banned.
Soda popper. So I'm sorry. Bonk. I'm thinking
bonk.
Of bonk.
Okay.
That's the word I'm looking of. Sorry about that.
No, I don't know. I was gonna. Okay, we're gonna have a little drama going down here. But yeah, Banny is doing a great job with that bonk, getting behind, and he causes such a distraction that the soldier's been able to bomb on top, and Turkey Lips was kind of having trouble staying alive because of that. I mean, taking a look at the logs, I mean, Turkey did technically die less than Shade. I don't think either team did a great job with protecting their medic. Mostly that bonk play out of Banny, and mostly the pit play out of Froyo. But I think neither medic really excelled in survivability on this one.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see what kind of change-ups they do. I mean, I really think the other thing I'd like to see, if Froyotech again goes for that A hold, instead of trying to push up that low ground, if you think about it, if you had send literally all 7 players on top of the cliff on the right-hand side, they drop down, you pop Uber right away, you go for an early exchange, there is nowhere for the defensive players to go, right? You take down the gun right away, you focus that down, because Eric was doing a really good, I mean, consistently throughout this league, we've seen Eric doing work on top of the class, on top of the with the engineer class. You take out the gun right away, you go for the exchanges, and then you just try to win the DM fight after that, working with your team, and then you also have the respawn advantage to work with yourself as well. So I'm kind of surprised, you know, I maybe they'll try to do that, but we're going to see Froyotech, they've actually requested to start on attacking first, as it is their call in the second round. So but yeah, so we'll see. It looks like they actually want to keep it up. They didn't have a great attack last time, but maybe they're looking to set it. And usually when Froyotech wants to attack, it works out in their favor. If they can put up a fast time, it goes against the common logic of players. But for Froyotech, it's been working out because usually they can get the aggression just right. And you can see Generations is not going to try to do the A hold. They're going for, again, the more traditional, just properly holding B. And no engineer now on defense. They're going to just switch to, they're actually not running a sniper on defense either.
Yeah, this is a strange class composition. I wonder how it'll work out for them. I mean, I do feel that Froyo have reason to be confident. I think they're a team, obviously, that's very smart, and they probably already figured out, okay, what didn't work about our last offense? Okay, this didn't work, and they've gone back to the drawing board, fixed it, so they want to come out and set the world on fire with another offensive round. Exile is going to get the early sticky trap onto Corsa, so I mean, it's a good start. There's no sniper to worry about, but it doesn't really help your team in the terms of there's no sniper for you now to use to get aggressive while the other sniper's down. So Horse is back up and just kind of playing chicken in this B corridor, figure out who's going to use first, who's going to get the early pick. E is being capped right now as Blaze comes down the drop down, gets denied. Good job. Uber being used very early by Froyotech, trying to get in, and now a later pop by Generations, but the Ubers are halfway across the map from each other. So Froyo, it was successful in the sense that they just got all the space, and now Generations say, okay, we'll go back to C. Thank you, sir. Understandable.
And that's the thing we've seen out of Froyotech is they've been doing a really good job of mixing up their classes at the right times. Eric has not played Spy all game, and that's one of the things that is so deadly about Froyotech is because they play so little Spy that the other team kind of forgets to check what class they're on. And he just picked the right time to go in, and now he's back onto the Pyro class. Freelander gets taken out very early on there. And that's going to put him at a little bit of a dangerous situation, removing one of those spammable classes as Froyotech's trying to get really aggressive here with about a 20% advantage as well. Habib goes down incredibly low as Zukima is playing underneath of the crates. He could actually go for a flank play, but he's going to run into Banny underneath, though Banny is going to have to run away from that one right now as Shadowway gets taken out from Habib. 2 players down. They're going to push in as Turkey dies with 98%. An absolutely brutal kill coming out there. Almost a +2. We can call it a plus 1.99 as Froyotech's going to take the C point. And it might be a calamity of errors here as Generations has struggled to regain the hold after they lose that B point. But we'll see if they can do anything here as it's going to be about a 2-minute time for the first 3 points.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out it would be a plus 1.96 if you wanted to be technical about it, but yeah, not a big deal. So already pushing down Death Hallway is Froyo. They are not scared of Death at all. They want to just push right forward. They're going to be sitting at a nice 40% advantage. They know that from the late kill onto Turkey Lips. Just pushing their way through the point. Yom's going to be the first one to peek. Habib gets a kill onto Zakima as Eric looks like it reflects Freelander's rocket. So they're looking pretty good right now to go in with a 3-player advantage and Uber ad. They can use in right now, should be able to get Turkey Lips if she overcommits. No, they're already out. Blaze jumping in to see what he can get. Good job by Generations to back out without losing their medic. Oh, okay, I thought maybe I spoke too soon.
How did they hold on there? Banny came directly behind them because he died earlier on, and so he was coming up as a respawn here, 100% coming up, and Shade's going to get caught in here if they do it correctly. The Pyro did a good job air blasting. Freelander trying to chase him down. Now it's going to be Syath, Duck Rider chasing it. The Heavy gets taken out as well, and now it's just the Pyro coming in here. Eric with the reserve shield trying to take down Turkey Lips, but she is going to be able to keep her life, and Generations, finally, for the first time this game, is able to hold on to a point, but Banny's already back alive with Blaze, trying to get some capture time on his seat, but he's going to use that soda popper to continue to be a nuisance to the enemy team. But now Generations at least has a hold up here, but they have to be careful. Again, every death they take is going to put them onto a 20-second respawn wave, which is massive, massive when it comes to this. Just a 1-2 player advantage can be enough, but Duck Rider going all the way behind, also taking down Corsa down at the A point. I love that aggression, and a 20% advantage currently in the favor of the defense, and we can see the Death Hallway is being filled up by Froyotech as they're going to go commit to D, but this is dangerous with Turkey Lips only 20% away.
Yeah, it looks like they're already doing a good job. Exile getting some pipes in, takes out Habib. Good pick by him there. The only, well, as Zakima goes down, but the only other pick. Oh, okay. Well, of course it came from Lobby, and he's going to hit shot onto Turkey Lips. So, I'm trying to do something here, Corsa. But yeah, why don't you go win your game, all right?
Wow, absolutely insane. He just kind of kept up. Who needs a spy class when you can just point-blank range, headshot the medic, drop coming out of Generations? And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for them to continue to hold on to this, especially when Blaze puts out a nice pre-fire, taking down XL. Only 3 players left alive for the defense. Fallen is by himself currently in the lobby area, and he should be easily cleaned up there as well. Zukima gets a headshot onto Blaze, back-to-back sniper drops coming out, and that actually might give a chance for the defense to come out here. ×3, the D point is definitely going to go down, and that's going to shut down one of the closest respawn for the defense. The guardrails are also going to come up here. E point starting to be captured, but Froyotech struggled to continue to hold on to this point the last time they were out here. We'll see if another miracle defense can come up for Generations as Froyotech's doing what they can to capture this final point.
course is going to get a nice shot onto Freelander. Sayath comes through, tries to get some shots down, but there's ×3 on the point, and I mean, it looks like Generations really isn't close. This is a great job by Froyotech, focusing down the chokes here, ×4, ×2, times whatever, because everyone is dead except for Shot Away. He's going to try to get something done, but if he had 1v7 as a spy, I would give him my entire backpack, I swear. But much better job by Froyotech here. Just under 6 minutes, 5:45 time. And after, after Generation struggles on their offensive round, I'm doubting a little bit, but I think, kind of what I said about Froyotech, they go back to the drawing board, rethink how they did things. I think that's definitely going to be something that Generations is capable of doing. They should have a plan by now on how to attack this A-hold.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, as Yams is currently running the Natasha on the heavy class. Eric is playing Engineer. He will get... Where is he building his gun? Yeah, he's getting down in the same spot he played last time. But yeah, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. A very solid time, but again, that's very beatable. But the big thing is they just cannot get stuck on a 4-minute hold. I mean, if they were able to take down that A point in about 60 seconds, right, they would have had a plenty of time to potentially win that last game. It's really, they just need to break this. But again, I think they might be going to try to go aggressive on the lower side. Corsa gets taken out early, though, so they can try to work in their sniper here into the lower side. But again, I mean, everybody's pushing up lower, but the match drops!
Big boy picks. Shot Away gets a backstab on the Shay. Fallen Lord gets a headshot on the Banny. And this is calamity for Froyotech. They got to cap this point. Maybe just have the scout, soldier, and then send other people to B. I don't think you need to commit your entire team, but, I guess I can see they got ×6 going. It should cap up pretty easily, and by the time they go drop down, it would have taken just as much time to go through spawn. So not bad. It looks like they may just want to go straight AE. The only person there is Blaze. He's starting to calm that to his team as he rotates back. Got Eric looking like he wants to build a level 3 up, and I want to know what Generation's plan is now, because they're figuring it out. Some were by E, some were by drop down.
Yeah, it looks like they want to split it up. They want to put a little bit of pressure on E, and it's going to be the sniper as well as the soldier. But the sniper doesn't have a lot of angles to work from, and they're going to switch over. XL gets dropped here just before this Uber's going to be coming out, and this is a massive advantage. Losing your demo man and having to pop so early on, it basically makes this not worthwhile at all. Shade's still at 60%. This Heavy's going to go down. Duck Rider's going to run in, but with that level 1 sentry gun up, he's going to be easily taken out. Freelander is going to go down here as well, and just big misplays coming out of Generations. If they wanted to do that strategy, it's not the wrong thing to do, but you need to go why didn't they go send their team, get the presence on E, right? Force Shade, force the enemy team to have to back up, then you push B because they're already pulled back around. And so now Shade holding on to 100%. XL is completely alone right now, eating so much damage from Banny. He needs an arrow to keep himself alive as Banny is seeking him out. It's going to take him down. And just not looking good right now as they're currently down 3 to Froyotech.
I think this is a time where, you got to go for broke. You do have 4 minutes. It is possible if you want to go the alphabet and B, C, D, E at this point. But you would really have to be moving now and moving fast. Very aggressive gun right now by Eric is going to get taken out. And Shade could be overcommitted if a fast bomb could happen or something. He would be caught out, and I think he is. They decide to use Uber, and he's going to get Zakima, but that's it. And I think Froyotech may be just having a little fun there. But I think there's a strong possibility of going A to E, especially with only 7 people defending rather than 9. But they do decide to use Uber, charging in with Sayath. He's going to get the lion's share of it, flashing in Exile. Got to be careful because behind is Habib. He's got stickies, he's got pipes, and 4 players are going to go down for Generations during that, despite the Uber advantage, and that's going to send them right back to the respawn queue.
Honestly, can I just say I love Eric. Like, he is so creative in everything he does. I mean, Froyotech's getting a little bit cocky, a little bit cheesy, but literally that gun is the reason that got shut down. But right now, Shot Away shuts down Shade onto a 20-second respawn wave, and this is going to be a struggle right here. for Froyotech. They don't have heals right now. We'll see what they can do. But again, just Eric, he's been doing such a good job on the engineer class. He's been so creative. But we can see right now the Delman and Scout are currently going for E play. Scout's going to be putting pressure onto the E point. 2 minutes left on the clock, and they kind of just need to go for broke here, and they do just need to go for E.
Yep, they got the times to go in. Shade's going to spam some arrows from the spawn. Good job, Exile getting the sticks down. He's going to try to choke him off. Now they got to worry about Wishbone as well, and that's probably going to be Zakima's job on Heavy. Someone's got to watch Wish, and someone's got to watch Spawn, and the cap has to go down. I mean, there's a lot to do here, but you got to do a lot if you want to win the round. Shadowway's going to go down. Corsa gets taken out. Yomps, too. They're just trading picks back and forth, but every time they lose someone, it's actually benefiting Froyotech. So looks like they're going to choke him off. There's an Uber being used by Generations, but it's going to be largely useless. Oh, did Exile fall into the pit?
Exile got pushed into the pit there. This is not looking good for them at all. I mean, honestly, I think if Shadowway was running the knife, which gives you a speed boost on stab, I think that actually might have turned the round right there, because he would have taken down the heavy as well as the sniper, which he did, and would have been able to keep himself alive to put pressure elsewhere. But with those players being kept alive, that focused the demo's damage away. The demo wasn't focusing spawn, he was focusing down the heavy far away, allowing the spawn to get recontested here. 54 seconds left, and literally the only chance Generation has to try to get anything out of this round, it's going to have to go through an AE push. Eric gets taken out with a nice stab out of Shadowway. But you can already feel the GG starting to happen. It's in the realm of impossibility right now, just for the respawns, or for the pure time. And Generations, I mean, honestly, they did not look bad. You know, I think it's just a little bit more when it comes to if they're just a little bit more coordinated, if they were able to get that A point initially, you know, they would have been able to get a little bit more out of this game. Obviously, Froyotech world-class players playing in here, a mixture of EVL as well as Froyotech Sixes players. But they didn't look out of it. Generations definitely had a chance here if they just were able to get their transitions better on defense as we get down in the countdown seconds here. But yeah, let's bring up the logs as we are going. This is Froyotech having the perfect season and taking the 3 points today, as they're going to finish off in first place and have a guaranteed spot in the grand finals. Generations is going to be pushed down into fourth place, and they are going to be playing next week in a best of 3 matchup, guys, as playoffs are going to be starting. And it'll be curious. Tomorrow we'll be finding out who's going to be playing next. But let's bring up the logs right now.
Yeah, taking a quick peek, and I guess we'll go over the last round first. Yomps was a menace. He stayed alive pretty much the entire game. Got 30% of the heals, and it shows. Only died 5 times. His damage taken was nearly 5,000. So if he only died 5 times, you can just imagine how much the heal beam was on him. And for Shade's troubles, he dropped 16 frags as the heavy, which is not a bad stat by any stretch of the imagination. Coming in second, third, and fourth, Banny and Habib and Blaze. I mean, these logs do look stacked on one side, but I mean, I don't think they really tell the entire story. Generations, there's a little bit here, a little bit there that could have gone better. You know, I think if they had the chance to replay this entire match, we could have probably seen them take a round and maybe even the whole thing, but I do want to just point out also Shadowway coming in with with the top frag for his team with 2 medic picks as well. So good job by him there, trying to keep his team in it.
Yeah, Turkey Lips also had more Uber charges than Shade. I mean, I think, you know, there's a lot of signs that point to Generations not doing as poorly this game. They definitely had a chance there. Obviously, the DM fights they're struggling with. The creativity out of Eric kind of threw them off. Froyotech's unconventional style, I think, definitely threw them off as well. But, you know, again, I think I would have been really curious to see the same game played if Bonk was banned. Banny was using it so much, so effectively, you know, or even if we go back to the first round and if Wax just didn't get stuck on the engineer class for the first 4 minutes of the game, if he switched off to heavy on offense, if that would have helped him out a little bit more, if they're able to do an Uber charge out right away to take over that A point, you know. It's not so much come down to individual plays, but just like positioning and understanding to do that, or the Uber charge that they used when they had advantage in the second round here on the B point, where they went into drop down and they pushed with Ubercharge when the medic was so far away, and they were still trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to go through the E point. It really comes down to when you're playing against a type of player that Froyotech is, when you're playing against someone who's so good, you just cannot be making these little mistakes, and that's what Generations was doing every single step of the way. Now, as we come into the playoffs next week, they'll be either playing Dogging Kruger Effect. More than likely, that's who they will be playing, though it's possible Cat Noises may fall into third place, and that's who they will be playing. They've taken rounds off of every single team inside of the league. They definitely deserve to be here, and they could be a dark horse maybe to get themselves into third place. I can't see them getting above that, but they still have possibility, and they have so much promise. I can't wait to see them come out next year and take what they've learned this year and kind of go with it. And the teams are also just learning how to play. They're learning how to adjust to the moment and how to do pick bans better and learning to play against your opponent. And I think, honestly, a little bit of today is Generations played against themselves with the ban choices that they chose to do. What are your kind of thoughts of this game kind of after seeing the 2 rounds?
Yeah, defensively, I think the game needs to be played more aggressively than how it's played on Highlander, mostly because of those missing 2 classes and really those respawn timers as well. You can't get too aggressive because, as I just said, the respawn timers, but if you play passively and you just allow the offense to take space, every pick is really gonna cause a big issue. So you gotta play smart and aggressive. And I feel that's pretty basic advice, but you really gotta take it to a new level on a map like Steel. I think it plays very interestingly as well, and I think Froyotech maybe broke the meta a bit on A-Hold, but we'll have to see. I want to see this map played more in the format, and I want to see that could be reintroduced. And hey, any change can be good change.
This is very true. Well, congratulations again to Froyotech for having the perfect season. They were very close to losing a game in week 3, but were able to just eke it out. And so it should be really exciting to see who comes up, and especially when it's not just 1 map, but 3, if they will be able to close it out and win the league. $3,000 in total is on the line for all of these teams that are duking it out right now. But as we close it out here, any final words, any shout-outs you want to give out, VoxDei?
Just shout out to our teams. Shot away too. I think he really had a great performance despite the team's loss. And you, of course, ask me how my best bud here, as well as Nisel on camera. Thanks for doing camera, my man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nisel, as always. And hopefully you guys liked. We tried out a new format of our HUD. I think it looked really well. But definitely feel free to let us know in the comments of YouTube, where you can check this out on X Television. Shout out to my boy Nisel. Thank you so much for doing cam work. Do you want anything? You've been doing so much work this week. Do you want to say anything before we cut off here, Nisel? He is good as always, the silent man, but always such good work. Make sure to give him some love in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who came out and joined us here tonight. We broke 150 viewers, which is so awesome, guys. Again, next week, playoff, they're starting up. Everything is going to be on the line. Make sure you tune in for that. Keep in touch at rgl.gg. It should be an exciting and great one, as we have 3 weeks left here until we crown a champion of the first season of Recharged Gaming League. Thank you so much for joining me out here tonight. And remember, stop falling in the fucking pit, for fuck's sake. Have a good night.